Back to Summer Scaries, where we're turning your sunny vacation into a sleepless nightmare. Maybe. This is episode 2 of A Nightmare on Elm Street, which is a landmark horror film that revolutionized the slasher genre by introducing dream invasion as a terrifying concept. Its legacy includes creating one of cinema's most iconic villains in Freddy Krueger, popularizing the nightmare dream logic, launching a massive franchise that has 9 films, a TV series, comics, 2010 remake, and a crossover with Friday the 13th, cementing Wes Craven's status as a horror maestro. And it embedded itself into pop culture with the famous rhyme and becoming a defining symbol of 1980s horror alongside Halloween and Friday the 13th. It remains one of the most influential horror films ever made. Part of that is due to director Wes Craven. Let's talk about the mad genius behind the whole operation. For most people, Wes Craven wasn't exactly a household name before this, unless your household really loved Last House on the Left or The Hills Have Eyes, in which case you had a very interesting family model. Craven came into the project after directing Swamp Thing, which, let's be honest, is a very different kind of monster movie. But here's where it gets wild. Most of you may know, some of you may not, Craven got the idea for this movie from an actual LA Times article about a Cambodian refugee who died in his sleep after refusing to sleep for days due to terrifying nightmares. That's right, this movie is loosely based on a true story. Just kidding, not really, but I mean, kind of. And it's a real phenomenon called Asian death syndrome, where refugees were literally dying in their sleep. Craven took that horrifying reality and said, you know what? This needs burn victim scars and a Christmas sweater from hell, and kitchen knives for fingers. Craven also drew from his own childhood trauma because apparently all great horror directors are just working through stuff. He recalled seeing a creepy man in a fedora staring at him from an alley as a child, and that image became Freddy's iconic look. This man even turned and made eye contact with him. So basically, Freddy Krueger is just Wes Craven's childhood boogeyman mixed with the whole dream thing from Asia. Craven's decision to make Freddy a dream killer was revolutionary. Before this, slashers were just big dudes in masks who walked and stalked, while teenagers made terrible decisions. Craven said, what if the killer could get you when you're your most vulnerable? While you're asleep. Charles Bernstein absolutely understood the assignment when it came to the score. This isn't just background noise. This score is the nightmare. Bernstein created a soundscape that's part lullaby and all anxiety. The main theme features eerie synthesized strings that sound like they're being played by someone who's also being chased by Freddy. It's got that perfect 80s horror vibe. Think Halloween meets broken music box at a haunted carnival. Bernstein uses unconventional sounds and electronic instrumentation to blur the line between dreams and reality. When Nancy starts dozing off in class and that music kicks in, chills every time. And nothing beats the chime at the beginning of these films. And it may not start until the sequel, but nothing beats that chime. Special effects and makeup. Freddy is decked out in goo. Not really, but the burn makeup and all that. David B. Miller and his team created Freddy's look using actual photos of burn victims from UCLA's medical center. That's commitment to authenticity that probably required therapy afterwards. The effects in this movie are practical, meaning they actually built this stuff in the real world. No CGI, no fixed it in post, just good old fashioned latex, corn syrup, and what I assume was a very patient Robert Englund, sitting in that makeup chair for hours. The film opens with Tina Gray, played by Amanda Weiss, who is having the worst sleep of her life. She's being chased through a boiler room by a dude in a red and green sweater. Craven chose those colors because a scientific American article said they're the most clashing colors to the human retina. A burn man with razor fingers comes after her. She wakes up screaming with slashes on her nightgown. And her mom comes in and is like, honey, you need to cut your finger. I'm sorry, what? Lady, your daughter has slash marks in her nightgown. maybe have more agency or something. Tina invites her best friend Nancy Thompson, played by Heather Langenkamp, and Nancy's boyfriend Glenn, played by Johnny Depp in his film debut, over for a sleepover because she's too scared to sleep alone. Also, not invited is Tina's boyfriend Rod, played by just Garcia, who looks like he sells weed behind the 7-Eleven and hangs out with Ponyboy.
What?
Tina and Rod go upstairs to sleep, and by sleep, I mean engage in the dirty. Meanwhile, Nancy and Glenn are downstairs being wholesome. Suddenly, Tina's in a nightmare, and we get the oddest but most effective scare. I guess with Freddy with his arms extended, it's kind of dope. Before long, we have Tina in the real world being thrown around the room by invisible forces while Rod watches in horror, unable to help. She's dragged up the wall, across the ceiling, sliced open by Freddy, who is very much real in the dream world, very much invisible in the real world, and very much making Rod look like a murderer. Cherry on top of this is the whole room sequence was practical. Lieutenant Donald Thompson, played by John Saxon, who is Nancy's dad, arrests Rod because, obviously,
they're gonna kill me for sure.
Nobody's gonna kill you. Did you do it?
I never touched her.
You were screaming like crazy.
There was somebody else there.
The door was locked from your side.
Don't look at me, fruitcake or something. I'm warning you.
Nancy knows something supernatural's up, especially when she starts having her own Freddy dreams. She sees the same boiler room, the same hat wearing psycho. She ends up burning her arm to wake herself up, and she's burned for real. Whoa! And she's not buying her mom's "it's just stress" explanation. Speaking of mom, Marge Thompson, played by Ronnie Blakely, is hitting the bottle hard and hiding a dark secret. Probably why she's hitting the bottle so hard. Freddy Krueger was a child murderer in the neighborhood who was released on a technicality. So the parents of Springwood, including her own mother and Glenn's parents, tracked him down, locked him in the boiler room where he took his victims, and burned him alive. Now he's back for revenge, killing the children in their dreams because, well, he's a vengeful spirit. He's got to have a gimmick. Also, Freddy, you were killing kids. You don't get to have revenge, man. When Nancy's mom puts bars on her windows, Glenn's parents cut him off from her. And while watching TV and listening to music, Glenn falls asleep and gets sucked into his bed and is turned into a geyser of blood that shoots up to the ceiling. Nancy realizes she's the only one who can stop this. That's right, Glenn, the guy who literally just wanted to watch TV and make out with his girlfriend, becomes a human blood fountain. It's graphic, it's over the top, and it's probably the best kill of the movie. The climax involves Nancy setting up booby traps in her house, Home Alone style, but with more psychological trauma, pulling Freddy into the real world, torturing him with booby traps, and defeating him by turning her back on him. Literally taking away his power by not believing him anymore. It's a bit of how do you kill a ghost type solution, but she also pulled him into the real world, so he shouldn't have disappeared. He should have still been there. Yikes. The movie ends with Nancy getting in a car with her mom and friends, thinking everything is back to normal, only for the car to trap them inside and Freddy's arms to burst through the window and drag mom away. It was a studio mandated ending that sets up sequels and makes absolutely no sense if you think about it for more than 5 seconds. But it gave us more movies, so thanks, I guess. The genius of Freddy as a nightmare killer. Let's take a moment to appreciate why Freddy works. Before this, horror villains were physical threats like Michael Myers, Jason, Leatherface. They all run with chainsaws and knives and swords. What? Swords. Machetes. But Freddy has an air of intelligence to him that is somewhat present in Michael Myers, but ultimately he's no different than Jason or Leatherface. Freddy's different. He taunts and torments as well as attacks you in your subconscious. He knows your fears because he's literally in your head. He's a child murderer who became a dream demon, which means he can be anything, do anything, and reality is just a suggestion for him. Craven's decision to make the dream surreal and dangerous was groundbreaking. The laws of physics don't apply. Freddy's arm can stretch like rubber. The floor can turn into quicksand. The walls can breathe. The psychological horror mixed with slasher violence, and it created a template that countless movies have tried to copy but never can quite match. England's performance is also iconic. He's menacing, he's theatrical, he's brought personality to a role that made Freddy more than just a mute killer. Something else that sets him apart. The makeup, the voice, the laugh, it all comes together to create a villain who is simultaneously terrifying and weirdly charismatic. Other killers from slashers are icons in the way that they are mostly name alone, whereas Freddy is Robert Englund. Robert Englund is Freddy. And unlike other killers, Robert Englund is the only Freddy aside from one film, the failed remake. Additional positives and negatives. Heather Langenkamp's performance. She carries the film and she carries every scene that she's in, even kind of outshining John Saxon, who is the more legendary actor in this film. Practical effects, the blood geyser, the wall scene, the rotating room, all done for real. They all hold up and they're better than most CGI. Robert Englund, his portrayal as Freddy is instantly iconic and defined the character forever. Charles Bernstein's score perfectly captures the surreal horror and keeps you on the edge. The negatives, the ending. That twist ending makes zero narrative sense and exists purely to set up sequels, and it undermines Nancy's victory. There's pacing issues. The middle section drags a bit as Nancy tries to convince adults that a dream killer is real. Rod's character utilization. He's set up as important and then kind of just dies in a cell. It feels like a wasted character opportunity that they don't miss with a slight character redo in Nightmare 2 with the character of Grady. I'll get to that in the next movie. Council meeting's decision is the best kill in the movie is the bedroom geyser from Glenn, and then the best nightmare sequence is Tina's opening nightmare and Nancy's school nap. So there you have it. A Nightmare on Elm Street is a landmark horror film that launched a franchise and ensured that an entire generation of teenagers drank way too much coffee. Watching it now even makes me want coffee because you see coffee all throughout the film. It's not perfect, the ending is nonsense, and some of the acting is quite questionable, but its influence on horror is undeniable. There was a fumble big time with the use of the character Rod. The screen presence that he had was great in this film, and the actor holds his own. Could have been interesting to see Garcia in the role of Glenn instead of Johnny, maybe put Johnny in the role of Rod. Or maybe at the very least keep the characters the same but flip their deaths in screen time. Either way, the movie gets 5 sleepless nights hiding from dream demons out of 5. Now I'm going to get out of here, reminding you to check under your bed, lock your doors, maybe just never sleep again. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and join us next time for more Summer Scaries. Sweet dreams, if you can still have them.
Next Saturday on Summer Scaries Season 1.
Someone is coming back to Elm Street. He is not friendly. He is not patient.
Kill for me.
And he is not a welcome visitor. But he has something terribly special for the new kid on the block.
It started to happen again. Dad! I'm in trouble. You've had some scary dreams, okay? Help!
Daddy can't help you now.
There's something inside him.
Fight him! You're not afraid of him. He doesn't even exist.
Freddy Krueger is back on Elm Street.
Get out of here, Lisa!
Jesse, fight him!
Watch out for him. He'll be in your neighborhood soon. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2.
You are all my children now.
Freddy's Revenge.